Peculiarities of industrial growth in India. How peculiar it is, the growth of the industries. European managing agencies have always dominated the industrial production in India. Why? Because they were interested only in certain kinds of products. The colonial masters want only certain products which are needed in Great Britain, which are sold in Great Britain, which are valuable in Great Britain, like tea, coffee, they want indigo, jute, cotton are the important things what they want. So they are established tea and coffee plantations here. They want to acquire land at very less rates by the colonial government, and they want invested in mining, indigo and jute production. When the Indian businessmen began setting up the industries in the late 19th century, they avoided competing with Manchester goods in the Indian market. They avoided them. So they stopped the Indian merchants from getting in competition with the Manchester goods. They have put heavy import duties on the Indian products. By the first decade of the 20th century, a series of changes, a pattern of changes have come in industrialization. Industrial groups organized themselves to protect the collective interest and started to pressurize the government to increase tariff protection and grant other concessions. This is the case with the Britain companies, not with the Indian companies, because Indian companies were not so well established. So they were able to restrict Indians by pressurizing the government to increase the tariff protection and grant other concessions. So European managing companies always shown interest towards the products which were valuable and useful for them in Europe. They are formed as an group and they started to pressurize the government to increase the tariff protection and grant other concessions. So till World War I, the industrial growth of Indian companies or Indian industries was very slow. The war created a dramatically new situation within the British mills, or being the British mills being busy with war production to meet the needs of the army. Manchester imports into India got declined because the British company mills or Britain mills all were busy in producing the war production or war required equipment. They stopped importing goods into India. Suddenly, Indian mills had a vast home market to supply because the Manchester goods stopped. So Indian market is free now. So Indian mills got vast home market. As the war prolonged, it went for 4 years, 1914 to 1918. Initially, they thought it would be ended by Christmas of the same year in 1914, but it did not happen like that. So it happened till 1918. So as the war prolonged, the Indian factories were called upon to supply the war needs. The Indian factories were also asked to supply the war needs. So the new factories were set up. The old one ran multiple shifts. They started to establish new factories. Existing factories started to do 4 shifts, means 4 into 6 hours, like that. Many new workers were employed because new factories have come up. New people will get jobs. Same old factories also will employ new people in different shifts because same person cannot work in all the shifts. So new job opportunities have come. Everyone was made to work for longer hours than the usual time. Over the years, war years especially, 1914 to 1918, the industrial production boomed like anything because initially they were stopping the trade. They were putting conditions. You can only supply the raw material and the food grains. But during the war time, the Britishers could not manage what all war equipment they want. So they asked the Indian companies also to supply. At the same time, they could not import the Manchester goods into India. So Indian companies have got the entire India as their market. So after the war, within the colonies, means the countries which are occupied by the British, the local industrialists gradually consolidated their position, substituting foreign manufacturers and capturing the home market. Because after 1914 to 1918, for 4 years, almost all the local companies in every colony started to establish themselves and supply and had continuous touch with the customers. So the Manchester could not gain back its position after the World War One. What about the small scale industry? While the factory industries grew steadily after the war, the large scale industries formed only small segment of economy. Small scale production continued to predominate. Only a small portion of the total industrial labor worked in the registered factories. Means the larger factories or large industries, what we were talking about till now, constituted only a small segment, a fraction, because majority of them worked in the small scale industries. The small scale workshops and household units, often located in the alleys and the bylanes, were invisible to the passers by. When you're walking by the road, you don't know what is there in the bylane. So there the small workshops and the households were established. Handicrafts production actually expanded in the 20th century, while the cheap machine made thread wiped out spinning industry in the 19th century. Handloom cloth also expanded steadily, trembling between 1900 to 1940. But handicrafts production has actually expanded a lot during this period. Handicrafts people adopted new technology as that helped them improving production without excessively pushing up the cost. With less cost, they were able to produce more. By the second decade of the 20th century, weavers are using looms with fly shuttle, with increased productivity per worker and speeding up the production, reduce the labor demand. So they are able to use the latest technology with very little cost, and it's a cost effective factor. At the same time, they were able to produce more, and speed of the production also has increased, and that has reduced the labor demand as well. So less number of people, more productivity, speed up of the production. These are the favorable factors for increase of production in the handicraft sector or handicraft industry. Certain groups of weavers were in a better position than others to survive the competition with the mill industries. Why? As I told you, they started to have their own mills, their own fly shuttle. So that doesn't need any extra workers. But the coarser cloth was bought by the poor and its demand fluctuated violently. The finer cloth, the coarser cloth. Finer cloth is the best cloth. Coarser cloth means it is of less quality cloth. The demand for the finer varieties bought by the well-to-do was more stable, because the rich always buys the fine cloths. The rich keeps on buying it on every occasion. So they had a stable income. The families did not affect the sale of Banarasi or Baluchari saris. They are very famous saris. Moreover, mills could not imitate the specialized weaves, the weaver's handmade weaving, the saris with the woven borders, and the famous lungis, handkerchiefs of the Madras could not be displaced by the mill production. That's why certain groups of weavers who had this extraordinary talent with the hand, they can do it specializedly, that cannot be replaced by the machines. Weavers and other craftsmen or people continue to expand their production through the 20th century. They did not necessarily prosper, but they lived hard lives and worked for long hours. Not all have acquired prosperity, but they were not simply remnants of past time in the age of factories. Their life and labor was integral to the process of industrialization. So, in the process of industrialization, it is not only the industries which have played a dominant role, it is the small scale industries as well have played a predominant role, and their life and labor were an integral part and the process of industrialization. Market for goods. The British manufacturers tried and attempted to take over the Indian market. On the other hand, we have the hand Indian weavers, the hand woven, specialized handmade craftsmen, traders, industrialists resisted the colonial controls. They demanded tariff protection, created their own space, and tried to extend the market for their produce. The Indian weavers and tradesmen also tried to do their level best, even if they had the stiff competition from the British manufacturers. What are the methods that are used by the producers to expand their markets? They used advertisement, labeling, calendars, images of God, goddesses, and personages, and also advertisement by the Indian producers. These are the methods which are used to expand their market. Let us see each one in detail. Methods used by the producers to expand their market. In that, the first one, the advertisements. Advertisements make products appear desirable, necessary. They try to shape our minds of people and create new needs. From the very beginning of the industrial age, advertisements have played a part in expanding the markets to products and in shaping new consumer culture. Advertisements make us to think why we need this product and makes us feel that it's necessary for us to buy this product. It is very, very important for us to take this product. From the very beginning of the industrial age, advertisements have played very important role in expanding the market of the product and shaping the new consumer culture. Labeling. The second technique which is used is labeling. When Manchester industrialists began selling their cloth in India, they used to put the labels on the cloth bundles. The label says that these are manufactured by so and so. Made in Manchester is considered as a symbol of quality or a mark of quality. It is written in bold letters. You feel confident to buy the cloth. And they used to carry images which were very often beautifully illustrated. So labels, the second technique which is used, which is like an assurance to be a mark of quality, and they were designed very carefully, written in bold letters, which make you feel confident to buy the cloth. Coming to the third technique is calendars. By 19th century, manufacturers were printing calendars to popularize their products. Unlike newspapers and magazines, calendars were used by people who could not read. Why they have chosen calendars? Calendars were the things which are used by the people who could not read. So they were hung in tea shops, they were hanged in the poor man's homes, offices, middle class apartments. And those who hang these calendars had to see the advertisements day after day through the year. So even in these calendars, images of gods, goddesses were used to attract the consumers. Calendars means one time investment and you get completely a whole year you will have your representation in their minds, because day after day through the year they'll be looking at the product, the calendar, the image. And coming to the next technique, that is, they are using images of gods, goddesses, and personages. So when the image of Indian god, Indian goddesses regularly appeared on the labels, it was seen that if your association with God gave you divine approval to the goods that are being sold, and was also intended to make the manufacture from a foreign land appear somewhat familiar to the Indian land. So they want to establish the Indian feeling that this is an Indian product. Sometimes they used to use the images of God, goddesses, emperors, nawabs, adorned advertisements, and calendars. If you respect a particular royal figure, then respect this product. When the product was being used by the kings and or produced under royal command, its quality could not be questioned. This was the idea behind using the images of gods, goddesses, and personages. Coming to the last technique, that is advertisements by the Indian producers. When Indian manufacturers advertised, the national message was very clear and loud. If you care for the nation, then buy the product that Indians produce. Advertisements became a vehicle of nationalist message of Swadeshi. So if you are an Indian, you should buy an Indian product. So this was the last factories coming up. Key points in the factories coming up. Who are the early entrepreneurs? What was their role? How did they flourish? Where did the workers come from? Peculiarities of the industrial growth. Small scale industries dominating the trade. Market for goods. Methods used by the producers to expand their markets. Hope you all understood the topic of the day. Please consider subscription to our channel. Thank you.